Okay, so it is pretty late at night, but I just finished getting everything ready because tomorrow I am going to South Carolina. I'm going to visit my parents just for a long weekend trip. And I thought it would be fun to go over some of the books that I'm going to be bringing with me for this vacation. Although it's really warm in South Carolina still, I don't think there's going to be any beach days, unfortunately, but it's gonna be a pretty chill trip. I'm just like seeing my parents. It's my dad's birthday. Gonna go do a few things, have some nice meals, and probably have some time at night to read, if not definitely the flights. But I decided I'd bring some more like summery reads because it's been really gloomy here in New England and it's probably only going to be getting worse. So I'm not gonna want to read these books in that type of weather. So this is kind of like my last ditch effort to read these for the year probably. So I picked Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez because I just finished Part of Your World last month and I really enjoyed it, especially because romance is not like my go-to genre. It's not always like an instant hit for romance for me, but I really liked hers. So I picked up this one. People really seem to love this one, so I'm excited to get to this. And then I also decided to bring Malibu Rising, which I got a year ago. I got this book a year ago, and I really enjoy Taylor Jenkins Reid's books. I just haven't been wanting to pick this one up. And I think it's because it's gonna be like my last book in this like little world that she's created, and there's not even like a release date for another new book, so I think I just want to like have this to always look forward to. But this might be the perfect timing. I don't know if I'll read this as like a fall book or a winter book, so hopefully I have time to get to both of these. I might start one of these tonight to fall asleep because I'm not feeling that tired yet, because I always last minute try to do things, but it is pretty late. But anyways, I'll update you guys on these books over the next few days. Hopefully there'll be time for reading and this actually goes well, but next time I see you I'll be in South Carolina. It is very late at night, but I just finished my first vacation read, which is Yours Truly. I read a bit of this on the plane today, and then I was finishing it. I was just reading before bed. I wasn't planning on finishing it up, but then stuff was happening and I just wanted to see how certain things would be resolved, and then something else happened, and then lo and behold it's like 2 a.m. and I've just finished this book. And I think this is my new favorite romance book. Prior to this, my favorite romance book was Book Lovers by Emily Henry, and this book just like topped that. This is a 5-star read. I don't know, I just loved so much about this book. And I knew people were talking really highly of this, and this is not my first Abby Jimenez book, but I think this one, I don't know if it's just like leaps and bounds better or if I just like resonate with it a lot more. It's probably like several of these things together, but it was just so good. It was so good. I read this in like 24 hours. I had read like 50 pages the night before like going on the flight and everything, but wow, I don't even know like what else to say. I loved the main characters. I thought things were like handled like so beautifully. There's also like an author's note, or like what do you call it? Like a trigger warning, I suppose. And the author's note in the beginning. Yeah, a content guidance she has. But I just thought this was really like beautifully done. It is well written. I like didn't cringe at anything that happened. Like some things are like a little wild, but in like a fun way. Like the family members of both main characters are like really eccentric, you know. They're a little wild, but this was so good. I'm glad I got to it because I think if I didn't read this now, it would have taken me a long time to get to this because I wouldn't have been in the romancy mood. I would have been getting more into fall with like more fantasy books rather than romance, but wow. This is gonna be like my new book to recommend to people if they want like a good romance book. If you like romance, like you don't have to read the book that comes before this, which is Part of Your World. And I enjoyed Part of Your World, but this was just so much better. This is so much better. I'm at like a loss for words. I think it's also because I wasn't expecting to like love this book. And I really have. I have nothing bad to say about this book, only very, very positive things. Yesterday I picked up book 2 in this series. It's called The Last Graduate because I just finished the first one, A Deadly Education, before I got here, and the first one ended on a kind of big cliffhanger, so I really wanted to see how it ended. Even though this isn't really like a summary read like the last book I read, I just really wanted to know what happened, and it's been interesting so far. I'm not quite sure what the plot of this book is going to be. I mean, I have an idea, but then I don't know what the third book is going to be like, so it's interesting to see how this will play out. Something like kind of big happened, or they know, well, a few things, but anyways, this book is really fun. I've heard it like described as like a dark, more adult Harry Potter. It is very confusing when you first get into it though, but if you power through, you'll love it. I want to read like this author's like other books too because I'm enjoying it so much. So I am officially home from vacation. So I thought I'd do a little recap of the books I read and how far I got into The Last Graduate, which is the second book in the Deadly Education, or like the Scholomance series. So I originally brought Yours Truly, which I finished, and Malibu Rising on vacation. I obviously didn't pick up Malibu Rising for a few reasons. I don't know. I've been meaning to read this for a very long time. It is the last Taylor Jenkins Reid book I have, and she hasn't even announced like any upcoming release, so I'm kind of scared to officially like be done. I mean, there's still like some books on her backlog that I haven't read, but I don't think I like those as much as I like some of her newer stuff. And I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it, even though I brought it. And I don't know when I'll pick this up, because originally I was like, oh, I'll pick this up in the summer. It'll be good. And then I didn't pick it up all summer. At some point, I'm sure I'll want a literary fiction book, and I will read this. But I just can't get myself to, and I couldn't get myself to read it on this vacation either. Not because I think it'll be bad. I just don't know what it is, but it's not that. I did, however, read Yours Truly, and I adored this book. I know I like recorded some of my thoughts on it like after I finished it, but I don't think I was able to articulate them well. Like, I loved the main character, Bree. Like, she had so much going on, and like they both had her and Jacob both had very intricate like backstories that led a lot into the way like they think and like the problems they have throughout this book. And like I love Brie. She was like so insecure based off of like things that happened in her life that she didn't have like control of, and it was just like so sad. But I just loved her character. Like Abby Jimenez writes very compelling characters. These are two of my favorite that I've read from her. And I haven't read all of her books. I've read this, Part of Your World, and The Friend Zone, and this is like by far my favorite. But she writes a really good romance because there's so much like substance in these books. And they get like emotional, but they're still like happy, feel good books. And it's just like the perfect combination, in my opinion. Similar, like I get the same vibe that I get from like Emily Henry books, or a similar vibe. Like you get a similar feeling from them. And this one was just absolutely perfect. I needed this. It's my new favorite romance book, hands down. Hands down. Anyways, after that, I ended up going to the Barnes & Noble in Charleston, and I picked up The Last Graduate, which is the second book, like I said, in the Sholomance series, because right before I went on vacation, I finished the first book, which is A Deadly Education. And I think I said it before, but like the last line in that book was like kind of came out of nowhere. And I was like, whoa, like how is this now like gonna play out in the second book? So I ended up picking it up, and I love this book series. I don't know why. It's such an interesting story because there's a lot of like telling in this book, and the chapters are very long. These are like 20 plus page chapters, which like is intimidating. But like every time I get to the end of a chapter, like something kind of crazy will happen, and I just like want to read the next chapter. So I've ended up like stopping like mid chapter if I want to stop, because if I get to the end, I'll just want to read the next chapter. But I ended up getting to page 188 between like my last night and day of vacation and the plane ride, and I'm loving this. I'm loving this series so much. Like very different books for my last like trip of summer, even though it's like mid-September. Very different vibes, like opposite vibes for my books. So I kind of got the best of everything. Sadly, there was no reading on the beach, but I was surprised with how much time I had to read like in the evenings and stuff. It was very nice though, very like relaxing. But this wouldn't typically be what I would have as a vacation read, but I was just like in a mid-series when I was traveling, so it worked out. But actually neither of these were very good vacation reads, because I just like I binged this book. I read over like 200 pages in one night, staying up till 2 a.m. to finish it. So I feel like that's not a good vacation book. I feel like a vacation book should be one that you like, but like you can put down whenever and you don't like care too much. But neither of these books are like really that. Nonetheless, I enjoyed this one, and I am thoroughly enjoying this one now. I don't think I'll finish it tonight, unfortunately, because I got home very late. But this is what I read on vacation and what I plan to read on vacation, but sadly didn't. Let me know if you've read any of these books, or let me know some good vacation reads of your own. Primarily ones that you didn't mind putting down at any time, that were good, but just kind of like average. Because these were good, but they were definitely not average, and I did not want to put them down, and I didn't.